What? Wait, you actually got married? You, the quiet, scrawny, broke kid from high school. This is hilarious. Let me see your poor wife's face. Come on, show me.
A drunken Tom, his face flushed, starts heckling me. Even though tonight's our first class reunion in years, it's already a nightmare. Tom's wife, seated with us by chance, desperately tries to stop him, but he won't listen. All right, fine. I'll call her. Might as well leave early, thanks to Tom ruining the mood. With that thought, I pull out my phone. My name's Kyle. I'm 30 years old. I work as a construction worker at a civil engineering company. I got married 2 years ago, and my wife, Michelle, and I have a great relationship. Considering all the bad memories I had back then, my life with Michelle now feels fun and truly happy. When I get home from work, I notice a few pieces of mail on the table.
You got some mail today. Can you check it out?
Michelle called out to me as she prepared dinner. As I was going through the mail one by one, I stopped. It was a letter inviting me to my high school reunion. I've received invitations to reunions a few times before, but I've never attended because I'd been busy at work. There were plenty of friends I wanted to see, but there was someone I really didn't want to run into. While I was lost in thought, Michelle peeked over my shoulder.
A reunion? That sounds nice. You should catch up with old friends and have a drink or two. It could be a good break.
Her suggestion made me chuckle.
You've told me before there are people you don't want to see, but it's not like everyone is like that, right? If you keep turning down their invites, they might stop asking you altogether, you know?
That'd be kind of sad. Maybe I should go this time. When I mumbled that, Michelle smiled.
Hey, look, the venue's pretty close by. I could even pick you up if you need me to.
I tilted my head in surprise. I'd always imagined school reunions being held back in our hometown. I thought it was strange, but when I looked up the location, it all made sense. The restaurant hosting the reunion was tied to the person I least wanted to see. I was already nervous about attending after so long, but as soon as my old classmates saw me, they greeted me with warm smiles. Some still had traces of their old appearance, while others had changed completely. One of the guys who used to say he couldn't stand kids had become a father of a big family. It really made me reflect on how unpredictable life can be.
Kyle, you finally made it.
We've all been wondering how you've been. Everyone wanted to see you.
Hearing their excitement at our reunion made me happy. Sorry about that. Things have been pretty hectic. I apologized awkwardly, but then, yeah, no kidding. A crude laugh rang out, making me wince. That familiar voice made my face darken. The guy walking up to me had the same nasty smirk he did back then.
Well, well, Kyle. Long time no see. Still broke, I bet? What are you up to now?
He clapped me on the shoulder in a mocking way. He was the eldest son of a well-known construction company in my hometown, and most of my worst memories were tied to him. He was already drunk. Back when we were students, my family was struggling financially, and Tom had taken advantage of that to bully me. To Tom, the rich kid, I was just the poor weakling he could mess with however he wanted. He'd put my lunch on the floor and order me to eat like a dog, or ruin my shoes by covering them in mud. Just one awful memory after another. I tried my best to ignore him, but that only seemed to get under Tom's skin even more, making my life a constant struggle until graduation. I'm working as a construction worker now. Tom burst out laughing.
So basically, a blue-collar grunt? A poor man stays poor, huh? By the way, this restaurant, my family's company built it. And thanks to me pulling some strings, we're having the reunion here with amazing food and drinks. You better be grateful.
Tom grinned smugly. I wasn't surprised after all. I'd figured as much when I looked up the venue beforehand. Yeah, sure, I replied with a half-hearted nod. Just as Tom began bragging about how he took over as CEO when he got married a few years ago, some of our classmates stepped in to call him out.
Hey, Tom, cut it out with the snarky remarks.
Yeah, seriously, you're killing the vibe.
Back in high school, Tom was the class leader, more like a bully, and a lot of people were afraid of him. Because of that, there weren't many who stood up for me, but it seemed like, as adults, things had changed.
What the heck?
Tom seemed thrown off by the fact that people were sticking up for me. Thanks, everyone, I said gratefully. They all shook their heads.
It's a reunion. We're here to have fun.
And besides, a few of them added in low voices as they leaned closer to me.
A lot of us felt guilty for not standing up for you back then because we were scared of Tom. I'm sorry too.
In that moment, I was genuinely glad I came. They really felt that way. Feeling reprimanded and isolated, Tom clicked his tongue in frustration and pulled out his phone.
Hey, get over here right now.
I heard Tom say that, but who was he calling? I tilted my head in curiosity and went back to chatting with everyone. About 5 minutes later, the room began to buzz with murmurs, and I turned to look. Standing next to Tom was an incredibly beautiful woman.
This is my wife, Anna.
The room filled with admiring whispers. She's stunning, people murmured. She really was fair-skinned, slender, and looked like a movie star. Tom grinned proudly, but Anna seemed uncomfortable. Apparently, Tom had made her wait in the car in the parking lot so she could give him a ride home.
I figured I'd show her off to everyone, so I called her in.
Tom didn't seem to notice, but the rest of us were silently horrified by his story. The reunion had been going for quite a while, and it was snowing outside. And show her off? She's a person, not an object. Sensing the awkward atmosphere, Anna spoke up timidly.
Oh, I'll just say hello and be on my way. Please enjoy yourselves.
We all quickly urged Anna to stay. If you're going to wait in the car, why don't you join us? Someone said thoughtfully. I also nodded and said, that's right. And after some convincing, Anna finally agreed. Meanwhile, Tom kept rambling on, trying to show off and grab everyone's attention by bragging about himself and Anna.
My wife is super educated and her family's loaded. I mean, you gotta admit she's the perfect match for me, right?
While a few people fell victim to Tom's endless bragging, Anna kept giving an awkward smile. I asked my wife if she could pick me up later too, but I'd never have her wait in the parking lot the whole time like that. making her wait in the car for who knows how long, and then calling her in to show her off like some spectacle. It was unbelievable. Frustrated by Tom's behavior, I couldn't help but spit out my words in disgust. The friends standing nearby widened their eyes in shock.
Kyle, you're married too?
I had no idea. Congrats.
Everyone started congratulating me all at once, and I couldn't help but feel a little embarrassed. Come to think of it, since we had a private wedding, not many friends knew I was married. Yeah, I got married 2 years ago. As I answered, Tom butted in again.
What? No way, you actually got married? You, the quiet, scrawny, broke kid from high school. This is priceless. Come on, let me see your poor wife's face. Huh?
Tom, now even redder in the face, started pestering me again. Even though this was supposed to be our first class reunion in years. He really needed to realize that every time he opened his mouth, he ruined the atmosphere for everyone.
Dear, you're making everyone uncomfortable. You shouldn't be so demanding.
Anna tried to step in, but Tom shouted, "Shut up," and refused to listen. I let out a sigh. All right, fine. I'll call her. It wasn't just Tom's fault that the mood had soured, and the reunion had been going on for a while already. I hate the thought of making Michelle feel uncomfortable, even for a second. But I should just make an excuse like, I have an early morning tomorrow, and head home soon. With that thought, I pulled out my phone.
Hey, a fancy black luxury car just pulled in. Is that your wife's car, Kyle?
A few moments had passed since I called Michelle, and someone who happened to be looking outside raised their voice in surprise. I quickly went to check, and although the snowfall made it a bit hard to see, I could make out the car illuminated by the parking lot lights. No doubt it was Michelle. When I went outside to greet her, she smiled at me from the back seat.
Sorry to keep you waiting. I didn't think the reunion would be over yet, so I stayed a bit late at the office. When they offered to give me a ride, I decided to take them up on it.
An older gentleman in the driver's seat leaned forward and greeted me. It was the executive assistant to Michelle's company president. Oh, I see. Thank you for going out of your way. I thanked him, and the assistant gave a polite smile, saying, "Not at all. We'll be waiting here, so if you'd like, we can drive you both home," he offered, which made me feel a bit humbled.
When you called me earlier, I explained the situation to him. Once I say hello, you're planning to leave too, right? It won't take long.
I took Michelle's hand as we headed back into the venue. Sorry about this. Let's just say a quick hello and head home. When we rejoined everyone, the room buzzed with surprise, just like when Anna had appeared earlier. As people greeted Michelle one by one, Tom stared at her and muttered, "Really?" Michelle gave him a warm smile and walked toward him.
It's been a while. I'm Michelle, Kyle's wife.
Tom's mouth opened and closed like a fish. Then, suddenly, he shot me a glare.
Why is the daughter of a bigger construction company's president your wife?
His comment, practically an explanation on its own, almost made me laugh. Yes, Michelle was the daughter of the president of the large construction company where I worked, and she was next in line to take over as the CEO. Her family's company was much bigger than Tom's. I found out later that the two of them had met before through work, That's why Michelle greeted him with, "It's been a while." Tom's outburst only made the room erupt with even more surprised murmurs.
Wow. Now that you mention it, I think I saw Michelle in a magazine. She was featured as the brilliant and beautiful up-and-coming architect.
Michelle holds a national license as a first-class architect and works as both an architect and designer at her father's company. She must have been interviewed as part of a feature about the company.
Kyle, you two make a great couple. You've really outdone yourself.
Hearing everyone's compliments about Michelle and me was flattering but a bit embarrassing. Just as I was thinking it was about time to leave since I'd done as Tom asked, he suddenly spoke up.
Don't mess with me. Why does a poor guy like you? Are you satisfied now that you've humiliated me, making me look like a fool?
The room went silent at Tom's outburst. "You're the one who kept pestering me to call her, weren't you?" I sighed, frustrated by how absurd his accusations were. Anna, who had stayed silent up until now, tried to calm Tom down by offering him a glass of water. But Tom smacked her hand away.
You are a well-bred woman with plastic surgery. Don't you dare pity me.
Oops.
With Anna's small cry, the glass fell to the floor and shattered.
Are you hurt?
When Michelle rushed over to her, Anna nodded her head in a small, trembling way. Our classmates looked puzzled, whispering, "Plastic surgery," as they exchanged confused glances. Anna's eyes widened, and her face turned pale.
She's had surgery. She gave some believable excuse, but in the end, it's all fake. But she's from a rich family. She's quiet, and yeah, she's beautiful, so I figured I'd do her the favor of marrying her. I called her in to show her off, and she can't even do that right. Useless.
"You can't be serious." Everyone in the room stared at Tom with disgust. Tom's eyes were glazed over from the alcohol, and though his gaze was unfocused, he had an unsettling grin on his face.
Of course, I'm serious. And Kyle, how the hell did a broke guy like you end up with a naturally gorgeous wife? That's messed up. Poor people should stay at the bottom where they belong.
Even for drunken rambling, this was beyond cruel. Anna finally broke down in tears as Michelle gently rubbed her back to comfort her. "You're the only one who thinks that way." At my words, Tom glared at me. "What did you say?" His nasty expression overlapped with how he looked back in high school. Everyone else has grown up and changed how they think, but you're still acting like an immature kid. Insulting your own wife like that in front of everyone. There's something seriously wrong with you. You haven't changed at all since high school. All that talk about people being poor or about plastic surgery. It's pathetic. People around us nodded in agreement with my words.
What? I didn't do anything wrong.
Tom yelled, refusing to admit any fault. Anna, still sniffling, spoke up.
When I was a child, I had a big scar on my face from an injury. I couldn't cover it up, even with makeup, and it became a huge insecurity for me. But after reconstructive surgery, it became barely noticeable.
She confided in Tom about it, and instead of supporting her, he accused her, saying, "You're fake. I got stuck with a plastic surgery girl." Even though the surgery had helped Anna regain her confidence and bright personality, Tom's constant ridicule crushed her spirit, leaving her feeling helpless and numb. She had convinced herself that she had no choice but to obey Tom's demands. Hearing her story, I felt a deep ache in my chest. You're such a child. Pathetic. You've always been like this, not just to me, but to everyone. You only see what's on the surface. As a fellow married man, I have nothing but contempt for you. My blunt words pushed the crowd's disapproval of Tom to its peak. Realizing no one was on his side, Tom cursed under his breath and grabbed Anna's arm.
Damn it, I've had enough. Let's go. Anna, drive.
Stop being rough.
Michelle raised her voice.
No.
What?
Anna's lips barely moved, but she glared at Tom.
I've had enough. I'm divorcing you. If you want to go home, call a cab or whatever.
For the first time, Anna defied him. Tom flinched. When he instinctively raised his fist, he noticed all of our eyes locked on him and hesitated, clicking his tongue in frustration.
Geez, you all better remember this.
Remember what? You're the one who needs to reflect on yourself. As soon as I finished speaking, the door slammed shut with a loud bang. Tom's typical villainous exit line made us all burst into laughter after a brief silence. When we looked outside, we saw Tom stumble and almost fall in the snow. Anna apologized to us. I'm so sorry for causing trouble, but she was the victim here. No one blamed her for anything. And just like that, my long-awaited class reunion came to an end. A few days later, I heard through a friend who was at the reunion that Tom was in serious trouble. The first issue: his divorce from Anna. Tom tried to convince her, blaming the whole thing on the alcohol, but Anna firmly refused. She even filed for damages due to his emotional abuse. I truly hope Anna finds happiness in her future. The second issue: Tom was forced to step down as the CEO and was kicked out of the company. Both Anna's family and his own parents were furious when they learned the reason for their divorce. I don't know what Tom's doing now, but he'll probably have to make a living doing the kind of jobs he used to look down on. As for me, I'm still working hard on the job, full of energy. To support Michelle, who will one day become the company's CEO, I'm determined to gain first-hand experience at construction sites and eventually earn more specialized qualifications. I'm not like Tom. I want to live a life filled with compassion and hard work so that my family can keep smiling together.